Alright, Lancer, so today we are ranking all the new 9th anniversary characters. This year is kind of special because technically we did get 10 anniversary characters. Well, technically these 6 characters on your screen are the anniversary headliners for this year's anniversary. If we include the countdown to the anniversary, part 1, part 2, and of course also part 3, that overall gives us 10 characters, and I want to rank them from best to worst based on my personal preference. This isn't going to be a top 10 list on how good the characters are, it's more so who are my favorite characters from this year's anniversary and how would I rank them from best to worst, but also most enjoyable to least enjoyable. This list is allowed to be biased, it's preference heavy, and you lads can join in the fun too. Let me know your ranking for this year's anniversary units. Everyone's list is going to be vastly different, so I'm curious to see how your lads are going to pan out. But with that said, let's start off our list. First up, in 10th place, we have Nanao. Now, the reason for that is simply put, I don't really care about link sort characters anymore. I am someone that has already maxed link sorted my entire box and already massively farmed out enough materials to max out any character that I pull in the next year. So due to that, link sort characters at this point in time are my least favorite character archetype. I prefer even normal attack damage guild quest units, which are also my least favorite, by the way. It really depends on the unit itself too. In this case now, while I have very fond memories of the original Power Stunner now, and I am glad they did remake her, unfortunately, at least for me, I didn't pull her. And that, of course, is going to be a big thing for each individual list of anyone that you do see in the comment, and also mine. If I didn't pull the unit, and I can't play with them as much as the other characters, well, you know, that's going to impact my list. Even if I did pull her, I think I still would rank her 10th, because just compared to the other units that did release this anniversary, I prefer them as characters. And again, like I mentioned, links or characters don't really do much for me anymore. But if I do give some praises to this now, because I don't want to just trash on her, she is actually a really good unit. For a mid-rank character, she has a very high damage output with Frenzy +2, a high Berserker value, and also the first character in the game to have the Soul Reaper Resonance skill. This skill is what we saw on other Aronkas, as they had the Aronka Resonance skill, and it's a skill I would love to see come back more often, and I'm surprised it took us this long to get it on a Soribon. But essentially, every Soribon that you have in your team or lobby alongside Nanao, it gives her 10% more strong attack damage. So in an epic raid lobby, for example, she can technically get upwards to 100% Berserker, and also Frenzy +2 with a team or SA3, and also increases the lane star potion drop rate by an additional 10. That's overall a very strong mid-month character, and also a link star character. She also does have some really cool visuals. I mean, Caleb never really failed to make really cool Power Soul units. I think I've been kind of forced to say Power Soul has been one of my favorite seasonals in the last year or two because we've gotten so many Power Soul banners. But each Power Soul banner that we have gotten thus far has kind of had like a different theme. The last one was autumn based. This one kind of seems like nightlife based, where they're using lanterns. It's a really cool design theme that I do like with this Shinji and also Nanao. But again, ultimately, the reason why she is going to go at number 10 is because, one, I didn't pull her. I don't like Nanao that much when compared to the other units, and I also don't really care that much about Linkshot characters at this point in time. In number 9 and also 8, we're going to do these characters together. We have Shunsui and also Kensei. And ultimately, the reason for that is because they are no attack damage characters designed for guild quests. I think for most people, this is going to be everyone's least favorite archetype of a character, because they're not really characters. They're more so just stats. They're more so characters you pull for, so they can be used as an auto character in guild quests. I mean, for me, for the better half of like 5 years, normal attack damage units have always just been GQ sides. I'm not sure exactly what point it was. Maybe it was during the 5th anniversary, where SP characters just got significantly better than NAD characters, attack characters, and they've never been able to compete, right? 1000 Year Blood War Aizen was the closest thing to that, and I would love to see more characters like that. But even at this point in time, Aizen is a character that I only really use in guild quests. And actually, truth be told, I don't even like using them in guild quests because his damage output is inconsistent. It's a real shame worse happened to normal attack damage units in the last couple or so years. As of this point, they're really only designed for guild quests or brave battles, and in guild quests, they're a character that I don't even use, and I really only see be used like once every couple weeks, couple months. While I do actually like Shunsui and Kensei, I think their visuals are great. Kensei, I was actually really impressed by. And while I expected it to be a no attack damage unit, I was a tad bit saddened on how cool a SP Kensei could have been, especially a 1000 Year Blood War anime version. But in regards to the ranking, because they're both very similar characters, the reason why Shunsui is going to be ranked higher than Kensei is because Shunsui is the character that I'm actually using and needed in guild quests. After all, he's one of the only normal attack damage characters for the Melee Squad 0 phase. He also is serving as the team booster, as opposed to Kensei, while he is technically the best NAD unit for the Melee Holo GQ phase. Someone like Shinji does exist, and I have Shinji max transcended. If they were both 1 out of 5, then sure, Kensei would have been a lot more ideal on my team, on my my account, but Kensei is a character that I didn't really need, and that's why I didn't really pull for him. I mean, I pulled in his banner more so for Shinji, but I don't mind that I'm missing him right now. I'll get him at a later date. So yeah, overall, these two units, both very similar. Shinji just has the advantage because he is a character that I'm using in my current Guild Quest team. Next up, we have Shinji. Now, he is very similar to Nanao, as I didn't pull him. So ultimately, he is just at a disadvantage when compared to the other characters, as I have been using him for the better half of a month now. Maybe if I did pull Shinji, he would be a lot higher. But honestly, when it comes to this character, I have nothing but praise to say about him. For a mid-month, he's actually very powerful, very good damage output, frenzy +2, 120% SP boost, more damage to confuse and also weakened enemies. Very fun, strong attack kit, might I add too. Like his SA3 is actually very cool, referencing attacks that he does do in the anime against Bambietta, and of course his Soyon is using his Bankai. He was a character I was looking forward to, and in any other situation, I would have probably went down to 0 for this character. The only reason why I'm not is because he is a mid-month, and I kind of want to make a future 1000-year butter banner a lot better, because in like 6 months time, he will become a filler. If he was released for an end-of-month character alongside 2 better characters than Kensei, you know, my dream banner, for example, would have been Sergeant Bambietta and also Shinji. That would have been a down to 0 situation. But given his release right before an end-of-month banner of August, right after part 2 of the anniversary, I just didn't have that many orbs to pull for him. Really cool unit, happy to have him in game, hoping to pull him in the future, which compared to the other characters, the other 6 characters rank here, Shinji is a character I didn't pull, and truth be told, I probably prefer the other characters in terms of character choicing, because our next character is going to be Toshiro. Now, Toshiro is surprisingly, even to me, kind of ranked a tad bit low here, because after all, he is the highlight of part 2 of the anniversary. He was, of course, the banner character, the character Caleb wanted you to pull. In a way, he's the most anniversary unit of this year, and by that, he has 2 killers. Surprisingly, besides Sergeant Kitty's Brave Battles, the only SP unit to have 2 killers. Because alongside the EX attacks that we did get introduced in this anniversary, we'll talk about that in a minute, we also now, of course, do have Killer Plus, where you do more damage to a particular set of enemies, but with that, you're only going to get 1 killer. And all these units only had 1 killer besides Toshiro. In his case, no affiliation and also Sturmritter adds a lot more usability and made him more sought after, especially for the ranged Sturmritter guild quests. It's also Toshiro, he's a really cool character, and it's Holo Bankai. It's a really cool form, albeit in the anime and manga, it's a very short-lived form. He only uses it for like 1 minute in the anime and does 1 attack. But it's still a really cool moment, and it was a character I wanted to see early this year when we first started to get our core 2 characters, but instead we got a Zanjutsu Toshiro. I was a tad bit disappointed we didn't get a Holo Bankai, but we knew it would eventually come to the game eventually. Little did I know it would be for an anniversary. So honestly, very cool unit, very good damage output too, and very enjoyable gameplay. I mean, his damage output being frenzy +2, 80% SP boost, a high berserker value, and then 140% more damage to frozen enemies. 40% of that damage actually can be given to other hard characters as a team support ability is really good, and he's a character I'm using alongside other characters like True Shikai Ichigo. His gameplay is smooth as butter, and it also incorporates his E attack very good too, because like I did mention, that is one of the new things that we did see during this anniversary, and one of the best parts about this E attack that we have been seeing is that every character that did get it, they're all different. No character thus far has had the same EX attack. In Toshiro's case, it was more so a vortex attack. It does hit very slow, but it does last a long time, and it's there to trap the enemies in place, do a lot of damage over time, high chance to inflict freeze, where then you're doing 140% more damage. He's been a very enjoyable character, and honestly, I could see many people ranking him maybe in the top 3. My reason for putting him number 6 is because I kind of just prefer the other characters in terms of character choicing. Because our next character is going to be Soyon. Now, Soyon might have been higher if she got guard break. She is a very fun unit. Again, maybe some would say the most fun unit to come from this anniversary. Having said that, she does have some drawbacks, and that is noticeable when you're actually playing with the character. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but it is notable. Now, I think one of the best parts about this Soyon is that we had this character in-game, and it's a character that's still actually worth using nowadays in Guild Quest content, the original 4th anniversary Mugu Shunko Soyon. And she was a normal attack damage unit. So one of the best parts that I like about these anime characters is that their original manga unit was a normal attack damage character, and then their new remake is an SP character. We kind of saw it with Misaki, and we kind of see here with Soyon. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. You got to experience that character as an attack unit and also as an SP unit. And Soyon is supposed to be a fast character, and that gameplay essentially reflects that. Her SA1 is definitely noteworthy because it is the first time we've seen the strong attack return since 2017. The best launch SA1 in the entire game with crazy AoE to it. It was very powerful and fun using it in Guild Quest content. Her SA2 is going to be a team boost forwards. Always nice to have a beam attack on any character in their kit, either as an SA1 or an SA2, and I think it works better as an SA2 here. I think her visuals, most on the strong attacks, are great, and she also does have a very fun EX attack, as it does lunge off forward across the map. Is it practical? I mean, in some cases, it's awkward to use. In epic raid content, for example, you have to position yourself carefully because otherwise you would just literally hit the edge of the map. It might not be the best EX attack that we did see, but damn is it a fun one. It just feels very powerful, lunging yourself across the field, and in some cases, destroying multiple waves alongside it. In terms of damage output, again, she has a high one. Frenzy +2, 80% SP boost. She gets stronger the more enemies she does defeat, as she then does pick up more full stamina damage, can heal your teammates, and also most importantly, does recover the strong attack cooldown of your entire team in between stages. She's the first character to do that to any character, not restricted to attributes. And I'm very curious to see how she is going to play out in future Limit Breaker quests, because giving your entire team recharge in between stages is absolutely insane. And it's why I'm a tad bit saddened that I didn't ever get duplicates of this character, because currently right now she is sitting at 1 out of 5. I overall like Soyon. I like Mugu Shinko Soyon. Think it's a really cool moment in the anime. She does have some problems, like we spoke about in the past plenty of times. Her SA2 can't inflict stats damage, she doesn't have guard break, but honestly, it really didn't affect my enjoyability with this character. She's a very fun unit, and with a very different gameplay style too, because again, that lunge SA1 is something that we haven't seen in a while, and that EX attack is just a whole lot of fun using. In 4th place, we have big boy Soyon. Now, to some people, he might be number 10. He might be down at the bottom of the barrels with the now or maybe the GQ NAD units, right? But I don't mind Brave Battle units. I really don't mind them. I personally enjoy playing Brave Battles. So in the case with Sergeant, while it was a tad bit unfortunate he ended up being a Brave Battle unit, I would have preferred if he was a strong SP unit. He is at the very least a character that I am using every single day. Additionally, I can also get a use out of it in Guild Quest because, like Toshiro, he also does have 2 killers, that being Captain and Stamrator. In terms of visuals, I absolutely adore his Soul Bomb. His strong attack kit visuals also pretty cool too. And what I most importantly really love about this character is the non-attack damage string. Fly +3 for starters, but they kept the thing that made the original one unique. And with that, the final hit on his normal attack, we can actually see Tengen come down and slash with him. The older unit, his first ever 1000 Blood Red character, my first ever 1000 Blood Red character I ever bought, had that, but only after using a Soul Bomb. This one has the benefit of not having to waste the Soul Bomb to do that, and I think it's really cool they didn't forget what made the original one unique and put that on this one, right? At the same time, I like Human Soyon. I think his moment in the anime is super cool. I was tearing up when he was transforming back into a wolf. It's a really good character moment. Was really looking forward to this character. One of the highlights of Season 2. And again, I would have loved if he ended up being an SP unit. If he did, he might have been top 2. But unfortunately, he did end up being a Brave Battle unit. But at the same time, I like playing Brave Battles. And what this character offers too, in the Brave Battle meta, is actually very fun. Of course, the character itself is strong. I mean, the character does Fly +3, does more damage to captains and also Stamrator. But the most unique part about him is that he does negate or disable team bus and B-bus for any mind and also heart character in the meta. And in a way, that's kind of changed the Brave Battle Mal, as people are now using 1000 New Blood Red Chad, myself included, to make him your designated team booster, and he also serves as a good counter to someone like Aaroniero. So we kind of made an old character that's kind of just been considered bad, that being 1000 New Blood Red Chad, and made Chad meta. The Brave Battle team that I've been using, Aaroniero, Chad, and also Sergeant, has been a whole lot of fun and winning most of my games, because now I don't really have to worry about ruining my run because they got a team buff and I didn't. I'm right now pretty much guaranteed to get it off. And because of this character, I'm actually looking forward to the upcoming Brave Battle changes because, yeah, Sergeant's a cool character. Again, would have loved using an SP-based unit, but I play Brave Battle, so I've been getting a lot of fun out of this unit, been using him a lot too, and that's why he is ranking at number 4. Now, when it comes to number 3, they are kind of tied, but I think in the end, I'm going to go Mugetsu. Mugetsu's a great unit. What a perfect way to start an anniversary, right? A whole month earlier, countdown to an anniversary, guaranteed in just 10 steps. What they did with this Mugetsu this year, I want to see next year and the year after and the year after that. A month before an anniversary, give me a remake of a past anniversary character and guarantee them in 10 steps. One great thing about Mugetsu too, which makes him the most valuable character to ever pull in this entire game, is that he was a bonus in like 2 months of epic raids and also point events. And the fact that he was guaranteed in 10 steps was absolutely amazing. I mean, Mugetsu is a very fun unit, cool visuals to boot, it's a cool form of Ichigo, very strong as well. Not as strong as, you know, these new 9th anniversary characters, but he's like the pretty, so it's kind of expected. But he is good enough. He's in an attribute that has needed a new powerful character, likewise of Soyon. And I think most importantly, he might have the smoothest kit in the entire anniversary. A beam into a lunge into a full screen with extra flash steps, weakening all attacks. He's a fun character to use. I've been using him a lot. In a way, he might be one of my most used characters from this anniversary. He's just a very cool unit. He's been out the longest though, to be fair. And the only bad thing that I don't like about this character, to a certain extent, it's not even his fault, is that we didn't get a full holo Ichigo. He kind of set my expectations high for the mid-month of August, because surely if you're going to remake, you know, Mugetsu Ichigo, you're also then going to remake Full Holo. And they are eventually going to remake Full Holo Ichigo, but I feel that's kind of a wasted opportunity to not do that during an anniversary like we saw with the other character, because remember, these are remakes of 4th Annie, right? 4th Annie was Full Holo and Mugetsu. You know, Full Holo at the time was always the worst character of the duo, and right now it's kind of a shame that Mugetsu is still getting the spotlight. I understand he's the more popular form, and it's not really his fault to be fair, but I would just love a Full Holo remake too, right? And had we gotten that, he might have been like number 1. But I guess the only bad thing about Mugetsu to a certain extent is that he's a very safe unit. He doesn't do anything special, doesn't have an EX attack, came out right before an anniversary, so before the power creep, still of course competes and holds up. He's just a very safe unit, but a very good one at that. In number 2, we have Kenpachi. Now Kenpachi, I like. I'm a big fan of Kenpachi. Him versus Grimmy was one of the highlights of part 2 of 1000 Year Blood War. And going into the anniversary, if it was going to be a canon fight, it was either going to be Rukia versus Esnop or Kenpachi versus Grimmy, because they were easily 2 of the biggest moments, episodes, and fights in Core 2 of 1000 Year Blood War. I personally would have thought it would have been Rukia and Esnop. I would have preferred that. But Kenpachi is a character that, let's be honest, hasn't had a character in 2 years. That's absolutely crazy. His last character was a Safui character that maybe, to be fair, didn't age the best. But this 9th anniversary Kenpachi is kind of everything I wanted in a Kenpachi unit. Very good visuals, I must say. I think he might be one of the more criticized units in terms of how he plays and looks. But personally, I have no complaints about him. I mean, he has a good strong attack here. SA1 is a lunge into an area around him. And then his SA3 is a 2-stage charge strong attack 3. That, of course, references the attack that he does do to Grimmy when he breaks out of the, you know, vacuum space attack. His strong attack kit and even normal attack damage kit is very true to what we see in the anime. And of course, that summon is absolutely perfect. One of the best storms in the entire game, and most importantly, very, very powerful. I mean, part 1 of this year's anniversary was absolutely crazy. The power creep, insane. And that's what I want to see during anniversaries. The last 2 years, the 8th and 7th anniversary, part 2 has been the better banner. I prefer it when part 1 is the better banner, because not only are these the anniversary units, but they're also the premium characters. So I prefer if they are the better ones. And in this case, that is what we saw with this year's anniversary. Because Kenpachi in particular has Friendly +3, a 100% Berserker, and an 80% SP boost. With the strong attack kit that he does have, it's absolutely crazy. He's probably the highest or hardest hitting character in the entire game, bar none. And again, that's what you want to see with Kenpachi. It's the Kenpachi, right? But then, of course, it also gets even crazier because his EX attack in particular does give him a 360% SP boost, assuming you already had an 80% SP boost active upon using his EX attack. So because of that, he was able to brute force his way through super hard content like the Nightmare quest, the Nightmare Sparta quest, where in comparison, by the way, because we might as well put Grimmy number 1 right now, I've been seeing a lot of people say I Kenpachi's trash in Guild Quest because Grimmy had an easier time beating his quest, his Nightmare specific quest. But understand, when comparing these 2 characters in their respective Guild Quest phases, Grimmy had it way easier. The first boss he went up against was a power character, as opposed to Kenpachi, where his third boss was a technique character. And also, most importantly, Grimmy had access to good normal attack damage units, whereas Kenpachi didn't. So Kenpachi really had to like brute force his way through it, and he was able to do that. If you were someone that, like me, was able to 5-5 him, max strength send him, he was able to clear it by himself in like 40 seconds, which is absolutely crazy, by the way. So very fun powerhouse unit. I know some people don't like his gameplay, I do, and I've been using him a lot. He probably would have been my favorite anniversary unit if it was not for Grimmy, because let's be honest, Grimmy is basically Kenpachi with a better strong attack kit, better survivability, and also more usage when it comes to team abilities. Because Grimmy also has a very high damage output, Friendly +3, high Berserker value, I believe it goes up to 90%, with the 80% SP boost, great strong attack kit with a beam SA1, SA2 is a beam into a tracking vortex, SA3 is a full screen. His EX attack is a map-wide AoE attack, so this one serves more so as an extra strong attack as opposed to Kenpachi's where it's more of a boost to himself. And Grimmy's attack in particular can also buff and debuff, boost his team stats himself and debuff the enemies. He has Drain and Paralysis, so it stops the enemies in place, he can then heal himself, and again, most importantly, he also does have some good team abilities to future Quincy's. I'm a fan of Quincy's. I want to pull any upcoming Quincy character, and they'll automatically be better thanks to Grimmy's existence because he's letting them do 20% more strong attack damage and 30% more damage to any enemy that is inflicted with a status summon. Now, one great thing about Grimmy that I do like is that he's kind of like the perfect character to have an EX attack. Because what we do see with Grimmy in particular is that he has so many different abilities that he showcases in the anime, but in BBS, he doesn't have enough attacks to showcase all them abilities. But thanks to the EX attack, Caleb were able to make it work. His normal attack string is him using the guns, throwing out knives, lifting up the floor and squashing Kachi. His SA1 is the water attack. His SA2 is the explosion and then also missiles. His SA3 is the massive hand. His soul bomb, of course, is the meter, which also looks absolutely amazing. And then, of course, his EX attack is the space vacuum attack that he does do. So despite Grimmy showcasing so many abilities in the anime, given his abilities, right? He is the visionary after all. They were essentially able to showcase everything and packaged it all into one unit. I think the only attack they don't showcase is the lava attack, and that's kind of okay. They missed one thing out of like the other 10 things he does demonstrate and show. So with that said, that is how I would rank this year's anniversary unit. Kachi and Grimmy are just absolutely beast of the characters, but I think it's very close. I mean, I can definitely see other people ranking Toshiro higher, likewise with Soyon. I could see other people rank, Sergeant down here, for example. I could see people rank, Shinji number 1. I think most people would say Grimmy is definitive best unit from this anniversary. He's absolutely insane. And also the only, Stemrata that we got this anniversary too, right? Everyone else was a sorry person, so it kind of makes sense that Grimmy stood out a tad bit. But for me, this is how I would rank it. And these are my reasons, right? Overall, I did very much enjoy this year's lineup for an anniversary. The only thing I would have changed personally is somehow thrown in Esno and Rukia. Maybe again as part 1. I know many people wanted Rukia, Esno, and Byakuya part 2, myself included, but you can't do 2 of the biggest things in Core 2 in one anniversary, because then what do we have to look forward to for the rest of the year, right? Because at this point in time, surely it's guaranteed now that the end of year banner is going to be Rukia, Esno, and also Byakuya. Who actually knows, but we are a few months away from that. We have a lot of other cool and exciting banners coming our way. But either way, let me know your top 10 in the comments below. I'll see you guys next time. Take care and peace.